Holding a freestanding handstand is not easy, but these three pieces of advice can dramatically help you through your handstand journey. And in this video, I'll be talking about the best three pieces of advice I would give myself if I started handstands all over again.
The flexibility guy, Coach Elia.
Hey guys, I'm the flexibility guy, Coach Elia, which today is more of the handstands guy because I will be talking about handstands and about the three best pieces of advice I would give myself if I started handstands all over again. So what should I think about? What should I do during a handstand? But before I start, let me show you my brand new book, Balance Your Handstand, which is the complete playbook to master your freestanding handstand. So if you're looking forward to improving your handstands or learning your freestanding handstands, this book is for you. And in here, you'll find everything you have to know to master your handstand. And you can check it out following the link in the description down below. All right, now with that said, let's start. The first tip I do want to give you is to walk with the wall, especially when you start learning your handstand position. A lot of people, when they try to understand how to stay in a handstand position, they just try to hold the handstand position in the middle of the room without any kind of assistance. And of course, the majority of them just fail and they lose the hope of just holding the handstand in the future. This is because you are not following the correct steps. Walking with the wall is essential if you want to learn a proper and correct handstand position. You can walk both with your back to the wall or with your chest to the wall. Both are really good exercises to let your body understand how to stay in the correct position and to create balance from there. Another huge advantage of working against the wall, both with your back or with your chest to the wall, is that in this way you'll be working on your alignment without involving the balance. A lot of people, when they try to understand how to stay correctly in a handstand position, they can't do that because, of course, if you try to correct your handstand line from a freestanding position, so without any kind of assistance, you'll be struggling a lot because just balancing the handstand is tough. You know, it's something really difficult. But if you use a wall as an assistance, you remove the balance from the equation and you can focus a little more on the alignment aspect of the handstand position. And then once that is clear against the wall, you can take that piece of information and just transfer it to the freestanding handstand balance. Working with a wall also allows you to find the balance in a much more controlled way. With that meaning that if you want to do a handstand freestanding, so without a wall, you have to stop the momentum that your legs create when you mount into the handstand. And that kind of a movement there is not that easy, especially if you start working on your handstands. But if you walk against the wall, you don't have to stop the momentum. You can start with your weight against the wall, both back to the wall, chest to the wall. There's a technique and you can find all the explanations on this channel. But the most important thing we do want to understand here is that if you start against the wall, then you don't have to stop the momentum. You just have to transfer slowly, of course, and carefully, your weight onto your hands and stop the balance there. So make sure that you don't skip the basics. Walking with a wall is essential if you want to master your freestanding handstand, and now you know why. The second tip I do want to give you is to work more with your hands and to control more your body with your hands when you are in a handstand position. This may sound kind of obvious, but trust me, it is not. When you are in a handstand position, the first thing you do want to make sure is that your weight is in the center of your palms. If the weight is not in the center of your palms, you won't be balancing with the correct technique. Of course, it is possible to balance with your weight too much in front of your fingers or too much toward the base of your palms, but that's not efficient. That's not what we want. When I say walk with your hands, I mean that you have to know how to move your hands, how to activate your hands properly in order to bring your weight onto the center of your palms. If you feel that you are about to fall towards your back, so in an overbalanced position, you do want to make sure that you squeeze your fingers against the floor, so you press the floor with your fingers to bring your weight back toward the center of your palms. Vice versa, if you feel that you are about to fall toward your belly in an underbalanced position, you do want to press with the base of your palms against the floor to bring the weight back toward the center of your hands. The last piece of advice I do want to give you is to stabilize your shoulders and shoulder blades. After the hands, the shoulders and the shoulder blades are by far the most important thing you do want to think about during a handstand position. You do want to make sure that your shoulders are flexible enough to allow you to stay in a handstand position comfortably. There are a lot of exercises you may use to increase your shoulders flexibility, and also talk about that in my book, Shoulders Range. But generally speaking, you do want to make sure that you're working on your shoulder flexion, which is the position you use also in a handstand. So make sure that that range of motion feels comfortable, safe, and unlocked, so that as you go in a handstand position, you can open. I use the term open because when you bring your arms overhead, you go into flexion, and it seems like the angle between your arm and your torso opens and reach an almost 180 degree. Working on your shoulders flexibility may require a lot of time, but if your shoulders are not flexible enough for handstands yet, don't worry. You can work on your handstands, but make sure that on top of that, you also work on your shoulders flexibility. Once your shoulder blades are flexible enough, you do want to make sure that you activate your shoulders and shoulder blades correctly. And with that, I mean that you do want to shrug up your shoulders, bringing your shoulder blades into a position which is called elevation. As you can see, a wall here helps a lot to understand the correct activation because it removes the balance from the handstand position, so you can focus on the proper activation of your shoulder blades. You can do this exercise in chest to the wall, handstand back to the wall, handstand also freestanding. Of course, freestanding is much tougher compared to the wall variation, so I suggest you start from the chest to the wall variation, and you do want to move your shoulder blades up and down. The correct position is when you have your shoulders which are touching your ears. So as you do this exercise right here, remember, you do want to try to reach your ears with your shoulders, so shrugging your shoulders as high as you can, keeping your arms straight and your chest in. So you don't want to move your trunk, you don't want to move your arms, you just want to focus on your shoulder blades, and you do want to shrug them up as if you wanted to bring your toes higher and higher and to reach for your ears with your shoulders. Another super important thing you do want to think about is the position of your shoulders. When you are in a handstand position, if you feel that you are falling towards your back or towards your belly, you do want to make sure that at first you make corrections with your hands. So you do want to squeeze your fingers or push with the base of your palms to maintain the weight in the center of your palms. But if that doesn't work, you can also move a little bit the shoulders, but try not to move the shoulders until it's your last result. All right, so try to move your hips, try to move your feet, but don't move your shoulders, because as soon as you move your shoulders, your balance will change dramatically. As you can see, if I bring my shoulders forward, my body just goes into a diagonal line, and it's much tougher to hold that handstand position compared to a correct handstand, and vice versa. If I bring my shoulders too far behind my hands, that also creates an oblique line in the opposite direction, and also that position there is much tougher than a correct handstand position to maintain. When you are in a handstand position, take a video of yourself and make sure that your shoulders stay at all times above your hands. All right, if they move from there, if your shoulders want to stay too much in front or too much behind, or when you do want to make a balance correction, you do move your shoulders, and maybe you don't think about your hands, maybe you don't move your hips or your feet a little bit first, and you just move the shoulders. This is not the way you do want to do that, because as soon as you move your shoulders, you're going to be losing the balance and your correct line, and it's gonna be really tough to correct that shift and that body position compared to just moving the hands or the hips or the feet and just staying locked in the correct position with the shoulders. So guys, these are really 3 important pieces of advice I want to give you to drastically improve your handstand position. Work with the wall, think about your hands, and think about your shoulders and your shoulder blades. These are some things that throughout my journey, I figured out step by step by, of course, trying, practicing and practicing. Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of hours. Maybe during a day, I think that maybe some days I just stay more upside down than in a standing position. So I figured out a lot of things. If I think about, what are the major haha moments, when you just say, oh, something clicked. These 3 things just made a lot of sense in the past to me, for my journey, and also when I teach people and I just say, all right, just think about your hands, just think about your shoulders, just walk a little bit against the wall, etc. All these things just make a lot of difference. So I do want to make sure that this message also arrives to you, all right? If you're trying to learn your handstand, if you're trying to improve your handstand, these are really important things you do want to think about, and I hope that they'll be helping you throughout your journey. But at this point, I know that you may have some questions, some doubts. Maybe you give these exercises a go or these strategies a go and you have something to say, something to ask. Please feel free to ask and to put a comment down below, to write a comment down below, because I'll be really happy to talk to you and to have a chat, to talk a little bit about handstands. That's what I love, all right? And also remember that if you enjoyed the content, you can leave a thumb up, all right, and help me grow this YouTube channel, all right? So with that said, that's all from the Flexibility Guy, which today is more of the handstands guy, Coach Elia. Have a nice handstand and see you in the next video. Bye.